Yeah, where public anger is boiling over following the death of blogger Albert Ojwang in police custody and the recent police shooting of a street vendor during protests. 3 officers have been charged over Ojwang's death. For more on the public response, the legal proceedings and growing calls for police accountability, we're joined by Channel Africa's Nairobi correspondent Alex Kiarie. Alex, how are you on this Tuesday?
I'm very fine, Peter and Asanda. How are you?
We're good, thank you very much. Let's go straight into it. Can you tell us what's happening now with the officers and civilians charged over Albert Ojwang's death?
Actually, the issue, as you just mentioned, is about the public anger because members of the public and all other human rights organizations have been calling for the prosecution and a fair look and approach at the whole issue and the exclusion of the Deputy Inspector General of Police, Eliud Lagat, is the one that is raising even more questions because they expect that him having allegedly ordered the arrest of the late Ojwang makes him a bigger prime suspect in the whole murder case. But for now, the anger is being driven by the fact that only the small fish is being fried, and I'm talking about the head of the police station where Ojwang died, and the sentries who are involved in the whole thing, together with the civilians who were allegedly hired to assault him in their police custody. So that's exactly how it is, and the fact that another hawker or a street vendor was killed in the open at point blank range by a police officer during the last Tuesday's protests makes it even more annoying to members of the public and those involved in pushing for accountability on the part of the security agencies in the country.
The conflicting reports in terms of how Ojwang died, the police first said that Ojwang hurt himself, but the autopsy said otherwise. How has this affected how people see the police in Kenya?
Actually, it's just justifying the long-drawn anger directed at the police and the state agencies involved in security issues, because this is not the first time that suicide has been used as a way of masking police killings, and especially those people who die in custody. I remember that around 12 years ago, a British citizen died in police custody in the coastal region, and he was also said to have died through suicide. And so many other cases have been raised. And as we speak right now, we had a case of another young person who was killed last Friday during protests. And it was actually captured through a CCTV camera of the police officer shooting directly into the crowd. So this adds to that anger that has been mounting for quite a while and directed towards the police who are said to be involved in extrajudicial killing of citizens in the country who are unarmed, who have not resisted arrest, and those who actually have no legal basis to die because of standing up for their own rights or just being arrested over issues that cannot actually constitute a death sentence in any way. So it's a very, very, very disconcerting situation in the country. And as we speak right now, another a blogger has been arrested. Actually, was abducted allegedly last week, and is still yet to be found. And all these things, police have been denying involvement. Now, with the whole situation now unraveling, it seems that the police really have a lot to answer to the court of the public opinion.
Well, how have they answered in terms of why this particular blogger was arrested and the reasons given?
A studious silence, and sometimes a feeble apology from the Inspector General of Police, but largely it has just been silence and pushing and pulling back. And as we speak, still the independent police oversight body is still complaining about resistance and lack of cooperation from the police, which it is investigating over these deaths. And so far, there is that bigger conspiracy, allegedly, that people are suspecting so, of trying to cover up for those people who are involved in these extrajudicial killings of innocent citizens in the country.
On the sentiment in terms of police and how they're being viewed by Kenyans, and central to this particular case of Ojwang is Kenya's Deputy Police Chief Eliud Lagat, as you mentioned. 8 days ago, he decided to step down until investigations into Ojwang's death had been finalized, a move that further angered Kenyans who felt that he shouldn't just step aside, he needs to resign completely. Was this enough in him showing an offer of support in the matter?
Actually, the most interesting thing is that he did appear before the independent police oversight body that was investigating him on the same, but his appearance was shrouded in a lot of cover-up and mystery, and actually, up to date, we do not know the contents of the statement that he wrote or he submitted to the body. So there seems to be a coordinated approach in trying to shield him from justice, because they know very well that they might need him. And that is exactly why Kenyans are angry, because stepping aside and resigning are two different things, because it means that by stepping aside, he could be brought back to the same position or be reassigned another role in the government. And having not answered to the allegations or to the charges facing him, that clearly tells you something about the culture of impunity that is deep-rooted in the country and most of the countries in the region.
The President's William Ruto's statement that his government would protect citizens from rogue police officers, did this do anything to regain the public's trust?
Unfortunately, the President has lost trust. Very few Kenyans now take his word, because he did promise change after the June 25 protests last year. We saw nothing of the sort. He has been promising and actually apologized for the deaths and abductions, and they're still going on as we speak right now. He has actually ordered police to respect human rights in the country and civilians who are protesting, and actually this has been happening. As I said, last Friday, a young man was killed in the outskirts of Nairobi, and this in itself has drawn no belief and trust in what the president has been telling Kenyans, because they all say that it's all about public relations and trying to appear like he's a good person, but deep down, he does not respect the law and does not actually ensure that the people who work under him in his government face the law as it is required, especially in terms of respecting institutions of governance in the country.
So what's the latest on the situation of Boniface Kiarie, who was shot during the protests? Besides the PR exercises, what are they saying specifically about his case?
The Kenyatta National Hospital, where he's admitted, released a statement and said that he had undergone, I think, 6 more surgeries after the one that he underwent immediately after being admitted, after being shot. But so far, we have not had anything from the government, no condemnation from the state, and there's no officer who has been brought to book apart from the 2 who were arrested. And beyond that, we do not know anything about what's happening over here. And all that we heard about the family of Boniface Kiarie was that Kiarie is in a critical condition or situation, and he might or he risks being in a vegetative state. And there is claim in the streets that the government could be waiting for the protests tomorrow to end and then maybe reveal his true state of the situation. But so far, the bill is rising. The family is calling for support from Kenyans, but the government has not taken any responsibility to the same, especially in terms of managing his medical situation and treatment.
What are human rights groups and foreign embassies saying about what's going on? And there's now cause, as you say, for a total shutdown and growing protests. Actually,
the various embassies in the country, the Finnish embassy, European Union, and British embassies have also did release statements condemning police brutality. But currently, the biggest fear that has actually been in the streets right now as we speak is that there are plans to disrupt and cause chaos during the shutdown protests that are happening tomorrow. And actually, if you read today's Standard newspaper, and most of, I think 4 more newspapers have already alluded to this, they have named and shamed some politicians and the activists who are involved in this grand plan to use goons and other militias to disrupt and cause chaos during the protest tomorrow. And so far, the young people, the Gen Zs, are vowing to go to the streets as planned, and clearly they have their own plans to counter these alleged criminals who are being unleashed to them, to stop them from recording the protests, from being part of the whole project, and actually being seen to be subverting the government. But we wait to see, because this is one of the biggest plans we are focusing on tomorrow as a media.
Yeah, we wait to see, and thanks again for your insights, Alex. We'll be getting in touch.
Thank you very much, and have a good one.
Thanks. Alex Kiarie is Channel Africa's Nairobi correspondent, talking about intensifying protests action there in Kenya against the death of blogger Albert Ojwang. Now we're hearing there's another blogger who was arrested. Information is not forthcoming on his arrest either. And then also the death of the shooting rather, of the street vendor during those protests. That story keeps developing. And stay with us here on Africa Rise and Shine.
We are on open